Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. We are back with the 2024-25 NBA season, kicking it off with two games here, Nate, and we are going to be looking at best bets in this video. Also going to have player props up, and both these videos are going to be up each and every weekday that we have NBA action this year moving forward. So definitely make sure to subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. Give the video a like if you appreciate what we're bringing you. We are going to kick it off, like I said, with best bets, some maybe sides or totals or perhaps some same game parlays. So let's take a look at the couple games that we have here on Tuesday night, Nate.
Yeah, we'll start in the East, as is my purview. Knicks at Celtics. I will take the points with the Knicks. Might surprise you with the Celtics fandom shirt, Boston shirt here, green and whatnot. But look, plus 5.5. I think the Knicks can keep it close. And I would put a quarter unit on their money line, which is pushing plus 200. I know the Celtics are obviously the team to beat, and they're going to be fired up on ring night. I have no problem with them coming out hot, but it's a long game, and I think these Knicks can grind them down. I think they've got the personnel now to give Jalen and Jason trouble. That doesn't mean that Derek White and Drew Holiday won't save the day, but look, Mikal on Jaylen Brown and OG Anunoby on Tatum, if that's the route Tibbs decides to go, they've had some success defending these guys, at least holding down their efficiency. We're talking a 100 offensive rating for Jalen, his career against Mikal. Tatum 107, his career against OG, only 19 points per game. And Mikal, I think, is going to kind of sit back more into his Phoenix Suns role, where he is a wing stopper. He's definitely not going to be the high volume scorer we saw for a minute in Brooklyn and then saw flame in disastrous fashion last year when he was asked to continue to be that. I think the Knicks have an advantage down low. I mean, it's Al Horford and Luke Kornet for the foreseeable future here. I know the Celtics can mix it up. Joe Mazzulla, very, very good coach, and can baffle Cat at points here. But I think Karl Anthony Towns is going to eat. He's going to be very hungry to prove that he was the more valuable piece of this deal after all the guff he took on his way out of Minnesota. And the Knicks just look, they play him tough. This is a little brother, big brother matchup, right? I mean, beat the Celtics in double overtime in the opener a couple of years ago, lost by 4 last year. The opener in between that, they only lost by 3 to a powerhouse Memphis team. For what it's worth, in that opener last year, Porzingis played 38 minutes, was a plus 13. So obviously a vital piece of how the Celtics started out hot. Julius Randle, for what it's worth, minus 13. So now Cat, who's a much better defender, at least, than Julius Randle, is in there. Also, the rest situation, we can only look forward, but Knicks get 2 days off after this, so they will be willing to expend more bullets. Boston, only 1 day off, and then they have 2 on the road. Knicks, we see good cover rate, 60% on same rest as their opponents, all those kind of trends to say, if they got an even fight here, I think they'll be in it. And it's Knicks ball, right? I mean, it's Tibbs ball, if you will, 30th in pace, second in opponents scoring. So it's hard for the Celtics to run away and blow doors off this team if they continue to play the way they have under Thibodeau.
All fair. I mean, there's so much unknown in this game, mostly on the side of the Knicks in terms of how everything is going to mesh. We know all that. They've got the talent to do it. And obviously, you could say Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, used to playing with each other to a degree. So there's going to be some already knowns there with the Villanova boys. But as far as the full game goes, I don't know. I think 5.5 is a good number to take the dog in this game for sure. Because like you said, the further we move away from the ring ceremony and progress through this game, the more the Knicks will likely settle in, and the Celtics will not be riding off of a high necessarily anymore. But I am going to take the Celtics in the first half, and I'm just going to sort of ride the train that they started rolling with last year, which was the best first half team in the history of the NBA. I have to imagine. I cannot imagine a team had a better success. Basically, if you just put a unit on them every game with the spread, not just the money line, the spread, you made 27 units last season. That's a lot of scratch for one very specific bet that you can target in on. So it's -3. That's -112 on DraftKings. That's the best number. You can take 3.5 and juice it up a little bit, but you're not going to get that much. So I'm good with the -3 here, even if it's a push. But like we said, ring night. So maybe that mostly impacts the first quarter. But the second quarter is also where the Celtics were just as dominant, if not more so, than the first, to be honest with you, as their second unit often contained Jaylen Brown on it and he was usually the best offensive player on the floor at that point when he would get a bulk of his points and bully people that way. But yeah, it's really just that simple right now for them at home defending on ring night. I don't have much more for it. I'm not as confident in the Knicks' ability to cover just because of the fact that they're going to also be undermanned. I think that's something we have to take into consideration, is that Cat and Jericho Sims are your front court with OG Anunoby as your four. You're going to be pretty small against a really big team that we know is going to be big at the guard. I have worries where your backups are Miles McBride and Cam Payne coming at the guard spot for the Knicks. And what does that do with Jalen Brunson probably playing still 36 minutes in this game? That's what he averaged last year. And he's going to continue to be that important for the offense. So either way, like I'm good with you taking the 5.5. If you want to do something with the Celtics to cover at halftime and see how it goes, I'm good with all of that. But I think the C's are going to come out strong in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is the, live betting 101 is to basically look at both these leans and just watch the game. And if you see the Celtics up 8-9 at half, maybe you're going to get an even better price on these Knicks, because I don't think that they're gonna roll over. And if we follow the trend of how the Celtics played last year, it was a lot of big leads and then a lot of shaky third and fourth quarters at times, right? I mean, when they lost whatever offensive, whatever adjustments the opposition made to kind of slow them down, and maybe the three stopped falling. And I think this Knicks team, their toughness, I mean, you said they're shorthanded compared to last year. They have like double the amount of bodies to throw out there. Josh Hart's like, wait, what am I doing? I'm not even playing 42. So yeah, no, I think they'll be able to hang in the fight here and hopefully cover, maybe even pull out the upset. But let's go to the late game. Look at a couple same game parlays. I mean, overall, looking at this Lakers, I lean Lakers. But I mean, you talk about unknowns. It's just like, what has JJ Redick been cooking up this last month? Like we don't know. Apparently, he's going to grill any reporter who tries to get in there and find out what he's been cooking up. So I mean, the one thing I think is that LeBron James is going to come out and run this offense pretty well. I mean, obviously on huge amounts of rest, which is probably the best spot to take the old man at this point. So I'll take a same game parlay with LeBron to get 20. And then Julius Randle, the new face on the other side, gets 15 points and at least 6 rebounds. That's as conservative as I will get there. I mean, I have no problem with 20 and 8 if you want to put like a quarter unit on it for Jay Randle. But look, he has been out for revenge every time he has played the Lakers since they traded him, right? And now averaging 25 and 9 on 30% usage. You take just his last 5 with the Knicks. He got up to 13.2 rebounds, 32% usage, and 27 points per game. Perhaps there's some concerns about the shoulder, which, yes, he is coming off that. But, we at least saw him look pretty good in one preseason game. He kind of laughed at questions from reporters and just kind of brushed it off like, yeah, I'll be fine. Like, this is the preseason. Like, I don't worry that you haven't seen me out there much. And I mean, now this new landing spot, right? I mean, you'd think like, well, he's not gonna have the same usage he did with the Knicks. Like maybe he is, because I mean, he's playing with Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, and Mike Conley in the starting lineup are, 3 guys that could easily go 13% usage or lower on any given night. Anthony Edwards, who was last seen deferring for, an entire half when the other team decided they were going to double him or shade towards him. And is just kind of the guy, is kind of that affable guy, right? Who's just going to be like, if you're playing pickup with him, he's just going to be like, your world, big man. Like he's just going to try to make everybody feel comfortable and at home. Like he's not going to be like, this is my team. I got to establish, whatever. No, they're going to try to get Randall comfortable. And he's going to be more than happy to take a ton of shots. We've seen him do it against AD and LeBron. So I'm not worried about the matchup for his debut.
Yeah, we're both targeting him for sure. I think, LeBron in these spots of a ton of rest coming off the Olympics, I will say the MVP still, really good there. I didn't bring up the fact that maybe there's going to be some tired legs on the Celtics side. They had 3 Olympians and the Knicks had none, but now I don't think that's actually going to come into play, to be honest, especially because Tatum and Drew and Derek White didn't play that much, but more importantly for this one, I'm with Julius. It's a very interesting point that you bring up with Julius and DDV, Dante DiVincenzo, who obviously both coming over from the Knicks. Like, I can easily see them both being used not the exact same way that where Tibbs runs them into the ground, and DiVincenzo played 38 minutes a game after the Quickly and Barrett trade, and he moved up into the starting lineup. I'm not saying that at all. I think you probably put a ceiling on DDV at like 30-ish minutes unless he gets hot. But I think for Randall, yeah, you're still going to see him playing cat minutes. That's 33 minutes a game. He plays 33 minutes a game. That's what he was at last year for the Knicks. I mean, 35-ish when he was playing. But as long as the like 15 to 18 shots are there for Randall, which you think he's going to start shying away because he's on a new team. That's just never been the case. I don't see that being the case here. But I'll get right into my bet because it's like I said, DDV is in a similar situation because I'm going to get into him now too. But the same game parlay I put together for that game is AD. This is super conservative, by the way, so feel free to adjust these as you like. But AD is 15 plus points, 10 plus boards. DDV 10 plus points. That's minus 105 on FanDuel. And it's actually a really big discrepancy between that and a few of the other books where I searched for the best number on the parlay. You're not going to get these looks or these odds necessarily, these adjusted lines available to you on other spots. But for Dante DiVincenzo, I'll just start with him with the 10 points. It's 11.5 points is the core prop. Like 2.5, 3.5 assists. I'm not really messing with that because I still don't really know what his sort of role will be outside of. You have to have him be a shooter. He has to be a volume shooter the same way that he was in New York. You don't have other 3-point shooters. When you commit to 34 or 5 minutes a game for Rudy Gobert, you're guaranteeing yourself you're going to be one of the NBA teams that can't put 5 shooters on the floor at once. That's fine. You make up for it with defense. But Jaden McDaniels, unless he took a massive leap or is shooting wide open from the corner 5 times a game, it's just there's no volume of threes coming from this team if you don't have DiVincenzo in there, who's out there to spot up and took the most spot ups last year and is available for that with a great passing point guard like Mike Conley. So I'm going to believe in the need, and I'm surmising a bit. I have to use a little bit of sort of, just my own inclination versus having facts here because we don't have any use case, but I think he's going to be that vital to the offense that anybody who's coaching them is watching. Finch is going to know that. So I'll take him to get the 10 plus. I think this number is going to easily get up to 12.5, 13.5 very consistently this season for Dante. So love him in this offense and his need to shoot. And then for AD, it's just like, let's just talk about the simple hit rates. This is super conservative. He's gone over this number consistently against this team last year because he needs to be out there, especially last year when they had Kat and Rudy. You needed his presence out there consistently. So he was playing like 36, 37 minutes in the 3 games that he played against them. Went over in all of those for his core numbers, by the way, and these adjusted lines that I'm putting out there as well for the same game parlay. So, and then if you look at the season, 74 of the 83 games, that includes the playoffs that he played, went over 15 plus points. He was over in the last 7 playing against this team as well, by the way, since Rudy got there. And there was 2 games in there where he didn't play very many minutes, so I didn't count those. The rebounds over in 71 of 83 last year, and over in 2 of 3 playing this team in legit minutes. So there's really good hit rates. This is a very conservative bet to get us back to even money. The only thing that I could see potentially ruining this is Dante DiVincenzo not being used at all. That's just something I'm not going to bank on.
Yeah, no, I was saying, wow, you out conservative me. You came up with the safer one, except for the DDV, in my opinion. Right. Which I'm not saying it's not a good bet. I mean, 10 points is not a huge bridge here for a guy who was chucking threes last year and could get hot again. But I just punched in because I was surprised you get that odds. But AD, the same AD numbers, and then LeBron to get 20 is minus 118. So, a little worse, but I think that would be extra conservative if you're just saying, look, I know these known commodities are going to be the main cogs for the Lakers.
For sure. Yeah. And we've got a few more of these looks in the player props video, so make sure to check that out as well. That's all the time we have for you in Best Bets. Going to be coming back to you now moving forward. Happy NBA season. And until we see you next, happy betting.